Okay, so at the start of the track, you've got a really nice big scent article that Trakka takes good odor off of. However, there's a little hesitancy to go right off the bat, and part of that is getting used to starting with scent articles. Sometimes they feel like they have to ID them, sometimes they feel like they have to stay with them, especially when scent articles weren't used initially in the imprinting process. So it's almost like an evidence search, and thinks he needs to stick with it. However, you just give him some time and you're nice and quiet, let him go back to work, and he picks up the track. Now, one of the things that's happening here is because we're kind of in this semi-urban area, there's a little bit of distraction, and it's not necessarily odor based. It's just that you're in a more human related area, considering what we've been doing in the past is primarily woods and forest area, and so all the structures and man-made material can sometimes be a little distracting. Dogs like Trakka have a tendency, primarily due to their patrol background, to like to look behind corners and behind things. They're always looking for a subject, using their eyeballs as well as their nose. Now, the more we work in this environment, the better off he's going to get. But in the beginning, you're going to see this sometimes, especially as we start working into new places. Now, this is not marking. This is him really having to pee. So I'm not too worried about that. If he has to pee, that's okay. You can let him do it. Where we start having some concerns is when we have marking going on. That's repetitive peeing on every bush or tree that he comes across. Now, Trakka's body language gets better the longer he gets into this. You're not going to have as much head popping specifically for visuals, but you are going to have head popping based on scent pictures, air scent pictures in particular. You're going to have proximity alerts to the track itself from a distance, and you're also, I think you're going to see detection of the track itself when it turns around, comes back, and runs parallel off to the right of the track that we're on right here. We'll talk about that in just a second. Okay, so there's a very good possibility that what we see here is not related to the track or the turn. As a matter of fact, this little Stevie Wonder that you get right there is probably from an air scent coming off to the right. Your track itself runs parallel to this one, just on the other side of this fence and not very far. I think he's trying to find out if he can use this air scent, goes over to the other side, no track, no air scent, no nothing, and that's primarily due to the fact that he was at the base of that hill. Here, he's up on a little bit more elevated position. He had an air scent that came over the top of that hill just briefly. It amounted to nothing, so he's forced to go back to the track. You got to be a little bit careful when you're setting up tracks like this, unless, of course, you want to see what happens or do it on purpose. But when you have a turn on a track and the track ends up running parallel to itself without a lot of distance in between each leg, the dog can detect the other leg from a distance. And if there's no barriers, oftentimes they're just going to shoot the gap and cut that track. There's no sense in finishing a track when there's a faster way to source. And dogs are no dummies at all, and they'll take that. So you're obviously getting to the point of your real turn right here, and you can see Trakka's behavior. But look at that head casting upwards and looking in the distance. He's smelling the track from the other side. He didn't even really work the pavement. What he did is he smelled it on the soft surface from a distance of about 15 meters. This is really, really common. Right now, I don't really care about that. What I want him to do is just be seeking out places where odor is for sure. And then later on, we're going to be able to detail this type of stuff a little bit better. So the surface change is a little bit bigger than what he had before, and he overshoots the track just a little bit, detects it from a distance, and connects with it right here again. Okay, so we get another nice, easy road crossing right here. Not too difficult. The scent picture is pretty much one solid picture from side to side. I don't think there was too much difficulty in this one at all. Obviously, a little bit of an animal distraction, good correction. And when he gets back on track, what I want you to do is try to get in behind him, stay to the left, more lead neutral, try not to walk on the road. You switch over very nicely right here. Okay, another nice, easy road crossing right here. Again, I think we have one continuous scent picture, and it's not too much of a surface change. It's just really easy for him to cut across. So what we're going to need to do is look for something a little bit more difficult and a little bit wider and a little bit harder surface later. And in the next exercises, we'll be talking about that. But right now, he's really, really doing quite amazing. It's a very, very easy track for him. So it's clearly obvious that his speed and intensity is picking up, and part of that is due to your productive source. Taller, greener grass, lots of shade, better odor. But the other thing is that you're getting a lot of head pops, lots of little air scent coming from a distance. These are what we call far alerts, and you're starting to get into proximity. As you break out into the open here, your scent picture changes quite a bit. That track is now going away, and your dog is primarily working a air scent picture. You've got a lot of pool scent that's collecting in this little valley and up against the taller grass and the trees right here. It's not that the track disappeared. It's just that the air scent is more valuable to your dog, and so that's what he switches to. All dogs do this. It's nothing that we're training for. It's just natural instinct. Now, if the air scent does happen to disappear for whatever reason, or that pool scent dissipates, he can no longer work it, then usually what you're going to see happen is the dog try to find that track again. But that's not happening here. You know, he's left the track completely. He's working an air scent picture exclusively. And I think you're recognizing this after the last video or the last training session.
So Jeff, just for your information, I've just had a rabbit pop out.
So right now he's sitting here trying to isolate odor in the best way he possibly can. That air scent picture wasn't strong enough or good enough for him to get to it at that point. And so now he's either looking for the track or more air scent. But this is some interesting behavior that occurs right here. Watch this. Nose goes elevated, very high. Very, very weird behavior. Why did he do that? That could be air scent based. You could have some odor that's collecting up there against the trees. It could be contact odor of your subject going underneath the limb. But the bottom line is what Trakka is doing here is bracketing odor. You have the end of odor on one side in the woods and end of the odor over there in the grass. But right now it's getting a little bit better. He's starting to get a little bit more excited, and he's figuring out how to manage this situation because you had a wind shift. So as he's working that air scent picture, he comes awfully close to the track and detects it for you right here. I think he just located it, and it's not necessarily something that he absolutely has to follow, but the two happen to be right on top of each other, air scent and track. And he really did a fantastic job of managing this situation. And one of the things I need you to think about is that, you know, having a body at your end of your track is always going to create an air scent problem. And the more he works them, the better he'll get. He'll slice through these things like a hot knife through butter as long as he has the opportunity to practice for them. You got to do these over and over and over again. The more air scent problems he has, the better dog he's going to be. The key to this is you have to be able to read the behavior of when he's in air scent and when he's not. So really good close proximity alert, wagging tail. He knows he's right on top of him.
Good boy, buddy.